Abraham Traoré, this man never ceases to amaze me. So anyway, today in the meeting with his ministers, they was looking into projects, what's the next and how they're gonna finance it. But don't let me tell you what they said. Take a listen and then we're gonna dissect it. Boom. Hello everyone. Thank you for coming to the first session. I have already read the documents on a good number of projects, which are, I would say, much good and concern several sectors. And we will therefore immediately discuss these different projects and agree on certain principles. But the fundamental principle is to work as much as possible as not to harm the country. I say this all day long because as much as we are working today on major projects, we must think about future generations. If we have to take on debt, it is it have to be efficiency and speed in promise sectors which can be profitable quickly. But getting into debt just for certain projects, I think we must avoid it. And that is the fundamental principle and all the projects which will come our way, we will have to think about the type of commitment we must have towards our partners. It is not just a question of undertaking projects to engage them, but moving on to future generations, not to put the country into debt unnecessarily, and to focus on promising sectors because that we have priorities today. We are fighting against terrorism, of course, but we also have the battle for food security, which means food security in agriculture, women of agri-food industry. So these are sectors which will interest us a lot, in particular the industries, the transformation of our society, which will employ a lot of young people and which will therefore create enough jobs and allow Burkina to be transform its raw material and export, so that these sectors will interest us a lot. The energy sector, which is a crucial sector, because if we want to develop our industry, we need energy. Today, in the field of infrastructure, we are on several initiatives which are being developed to be able to sell and therefore allow the transport of our different productions. So that is a little bit of what I can say this in the spirit which must guide us on the future projects, which must really focus on sectors which can be profitable, which will employ the youths, but avoid as much as possible the inefficiency, in-depthness of the country so that it is on this we will try to go through the different projects, and according to this orientation I think we will be able to quickly decide on what can be retained for and what can be worked on, what can therefore be, I would not say reject in, but in any case rework. Thank you very much, and on this I declare the session ended. So there you have it. Abraham Chori stated perfectly. We have to be financially responsible. We're not going to just do a project for do a project's sake. It has to be profitable. It has to be able to work and for future generations. So I'm going to list out a few things when I say that where he is referring to. He built the rice processing factory. Why? Because he invests heavily in farming and they have massive amount of wheat, and now they used to import wheat, no rice. Now they're exporting rice because what? It puts the factory put people to work. It makes sure it put farmers to work. You have more farms opening up. Then the flour mill he does open up. Same thing. They used to buy flour, import flour. Now he's exporting flour. Why? Because he put money in agriculture. Now we have more farmers farming more wheat with his own flour mill that just opened his own mill. Now they're gonna process that, and that hires people, and then they in turn export and use for their local uses. And so forth, and tomato paste and so forth and so on. So every industry he put his money in or invest in, it yields jobs, and then in turn can collect taxes, and it gives people, young people, work and put them on a financially stable. So he have done this all over. From electric cars, they are now making electric cars in Burkina Faso. For the next project, he pour money into, but it's providing cars for the country, sales for the company, and taxes for the government. So it's a win-win-win. So he's saying, why should I, with a project that would not yield any profit or yield any jobs, just to just to make it to say I'm doing something. No, and that's brilliant. He said that they go through everything and make sure his country is not going to be indebted after he take on this project, and which is key. A country without debt is a country that prospers. Hence the reason why because Burkina Faso is so prosperous. Why? Also because they he own he has two gold mines, and that gold is processed in Burkina Faso with their own gold refinery. That means they own 100% of everything, and they have a waste management plan to again to make sure the waste they use in the from the gold mine does not get dumped in landfill. It's used, recycled, and sold again. So everything he does, he think forward. Hence the reason why he said he can have investors coming because his law state, he put a law in place that every investor that comes into the country has to hire, I think, either 70 to 80% of the workforce have to be Burkina citizens, and not only laborers in managerial positions. So that's a law. So when an investor comes in, you can bring in your own workforce. No, you can bring in maybe a few. If you ever hire 100 people, you can bring in 10, maybe 15, but the rest have to be working with citizens and managerial positions, high positions. So that's the reason he's so successful and why his people love him so much. So this is a brilliant one. I hope other presidents take heed to what he's doing with this, with his projects and his money. 'Cause he don't take loans from no bank either. Hence the reason it put pressure on you to pay back your loan and interest rate. They always charge African countries 8% higher than every other country, Western countries, when it comes down to taking loans from the World Bank and the IMF. This is a fact. This is not me saying this. This is proven. They charge 8% more in interest rate to all African countries, apart from the US. They won't charge the US that 8%. Anyway, so that shows that everything is designed to keep Africa in debt to the to the imperialists, which is why Aram Chori is so hated. Imagine this 19th attempt on his life. But now, because this not working, it's kind of slowed down. No, 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 no. What they're doing, they're trying to use misinformation now and propaganda. Hence the reason why he banned the BBC, the CNN, the Voice of America, all those big brands. Why? Because I'm going to give a perfect example. Some insurgents had attacked one of the countryside, and his army retaliated, take them out. Did you know the news reported that Ibrahim Traoré's army attacked civilians and unalive hundreds of civilians when in fact it was insurgents? Like those are what propaganda they are peddling because they want to turn the country against Burkina Faso, against Ibrahim. But he is loved by his people. There was a video going around. You don't really see it, so it's on social media where his picture that they have up in Ouagadougou, he had dirt on it, and a person went there, one of his citizens, and take his shirt off and clean off his pictures with their shirt, and then others come and join in and clean the because that's how much love they have for Ibrahim Traoré. He does not do projects and brag about what he does. What he do, he always when it's almost finishing or it's beginning is when he actually talk about it. But he never say, "I'm gonna build this" or "I'm gonna build that." You never hear him every mature said anything like that. It always he just come and tell you what has been done and how far they are. That's how he works. He don't make promises. He's a doer, not a promise maker like most African presidents who promises the world to these people and then in turn take kickbacks from companies, multinational companies who comes in and manipulate and use the economy to enrich themselves and make poor their citizens suffer. No, even sure is the opposite of that. Hence the reason why he's been attacked on all fronts via the media, via assassination attempts, and trying to muddy his name. But his people love him too much, so they're not giving nobody the chance to even spread anything negatively about Ibrahim Chori because he is that person that is we never seen before. Anyway, what do you think about that? Let me know what you think about what he said in his meeting, what his ministers are working with him on, and how powerful this country will be in the next 10 years. You can imagine how powerful the AES alliance will be, not only in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali as well, because they're also improving leaps and bounds by doing different projects and making sure that people in get a become self-reliant and financially stable. So it's a whole not a whole, it's a holistic way forward for these three nations by not being indebted to anyone, by not accepting aid money from no imperialists because they can use it against them. They are doing everything from the ground up, and which is being very, very successful. Hence the reason for trying to halt this progress. But it's a run. It's basically Burkina, the AES alliance, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. It's a runaway train, in a good sense. The freight train just taking off, and it's everything in its path is because everything that it passes is it turning into gold, basically. Because we have yet to see Abraham Traoré fumbles. I'm not saying he won't, but we have yet to see it, and if he does, we'll still forgive him because his motto, homeland or dead. He does not fly anywhere. He does not buy any expensive cars. He don't have any expensive clothes or jewelry. He wears army attire at all times. He uses the army bulletproof um, not tanks, armored vehicles for travel. He used the private. He used not the private. He used the military plane when he's traveling. When he went to Russia and when he went to Ghana, he uses his own military plane. And what am I missing? I'm missing something. He does not have any expensive watch. He does not give himself a big salary. He doesn't have a big house. He doesn't have $10,000 suits. He were this is the reason why he's loved globally, actually. So anyway, let me know what you think about this in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Boom.